Hello and welcome to the France 24 interview. Our guest today is Vincent Biruta. He is Rwanda's foreign minister and he joins us from Brussels. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you for hosting me.
Mr. Biruta, a few weeks ago, a commission of historians here in France gave a report to President Macron evoking the overwhelming, I quote the report, responsibilities of France in the genocide against the Tutsis back in 1994. However, the report ruled out France's complicity in that genocide. For years, Rwandan authorities have accused Paris of being complicit and even of participating in the genocide, in the words used by President Paul Kagame back in 2014. Rwanda welcomed this recent report. Have you changed your mind? Do you consider that France is not complicit and did not participate in the genocide back in 1994?
Let me first and foremost commend the political courage of President Macron, who commissioned that report. And the report itself is a very important step toward establishing the truth on the role of France in the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. So that is a very important step. And you know that we have, as the government of Rwanda, we have also commissioned another report which concluded almost the same, a very heavy responsibility of France in the genocide. But our own report was not a criminal investigation report. It was a fact-finding mission. It was about establishing the truth based on the existing information, existing archives, and that was the same with France. And the fact that those reports exist and converge on the same conclusion, it is a very important step towards establishing that historical truth so that both countries can come together and build a new relationship. Criminal investigations can be done, but they cannot be based on those reports which had a different objective. Our report was not about establishing criminal penal responsibility. It was about just establishing historical facts. And that was the case with the commission, the Clear Commission. So that's what I can say on that.
Right, but nevertheless, I mean, it's important to clarify. I mean, if you say that both reports converge, this is a departure from, I cited President Kagame, from saying that France not only was complicit, but participated in the genocide. It means that Rwanda is now saying we acknowledge that France had a role, but not a direct role in that genocide, correct?
It is clear that according to the reports we are referring to, there was no direct role of French personnel who was in Rwanda at that time. But nonetheless, there is a heavy responsibility, and the heavy responsibility against the complicity, those are semantics, and complicity maybe it is has a legal implication, but heavy responsibility, overwhelming responsibility, all those are very important conclusions as well. So that I'm not going to compare complicity. It is related to legal. It is a legal term, but those reports were analyzing archives which have been accessed, but we should also remember that there are archives which have not been accessible yet. And in the future, maybe some legal expert may base their analysis on those two reports or analyze other archives and come up with different conclusions.
Right, but clearly this is a departure from a previous report that came out back in 2008, the Moussier Commission, which really accused France of very severe involvement, and there was essentially this notion that there could be legal consequences. Now you're clearly not about to launch legal cases against former French military or political officials because this is not the atmosphere.
At least not basing on those reports. We are not going to just to start legal actions basing on those reports. So, but our report, the Muse report, put emphasis on the responsibilities of the political actors because these military personnel were just implementing the orders received from the political actors. So we focused on the role of these politicians instead of going to look at what the military personnel has been doing because they were just implementing the orders received from the president, the commander-in-chief, and that's the difference when we talk about these reports. There is a different approach, a different objective, and maybe legal expert can base on these reports or use other information and come up with different conclusions. But the objective was not about establishing criminal responsibilities of the military officers who were in Rwanda at that time.
Right. I mean, there seems to be a very clear political objective now. Really attain a reconciliation, a full-fledged reconciliation between France and Rwanda. Do you think this is now feasible in the very near future?
I think, President Macron has had the political courage to commission the decree report. And we think that that report and the one commissioned by government of Rwanda have come up with almost the same conclusions, and they constitute a strong foundation on which we can build a better relationship in the future, a relationship between both countries.
A very symbolic gesture would be for France to formally apologize for its past actions, like the US has done, like Belgium has done, like the United Nations have done. Would you like to see France do so in order to really build a new future?
No, we will leave that to France. The decree commission was not established on the demand of the government of Rwanda. So if that commission was established and it come up with that report, I'm sure that the French government will know how to use that report for the future.
Are you expecting a visit to Kigali from French President Emmanuel Macron soon?
That visit could have happened even without that report, and there are other French presidents who visited Rwanda. That report can be there, it could not have been there, and presidential visit could have been organized, but as a country, we are ready to receive the President of France whenever he wants to visit.
But you're hoping to see him soon? Is that correct?
Yes, we are talking about such a visit, but we don't have yet the details, and anytime when he wishes to visit, we'll be ready to receive him.
Right. I want to ask you about a discussion you've had with your Belgian counterparts regarding Paul Rusesabaha, who was the former owner of a hotel in Kigali and has been celebrated around the world for saving many people during the genocide. He's on trial in Kigali on terrorism charges. His family, his lawyers have criticized the way he's been brought to Rwanda and saying he is undergoing an unfair trial. The Belgian foreign minister expressed her worries about the way his case was being handled. We've heard criticism from the US, from the European Parliament. Is there a problem with the way Rwanda is handling his trial and the way it is dealing with political opponents like him?
Rwanda is committed to deliver a fair and a transparent trial to that gentleman, as it used to do for other citizens. But we don't really need any supervision from any partner or any power. We can do that because we have institutions which are doing their work, and we are committed to deliver a transparent and a fair trial to that gentleman.
But so are you annoyed when the Belgian minister tells you she's
I
worried?
not comment. She can be worried. There are many, the family might be worried for various reasons, but there is really no reason to be worried. And we deliver a trial which is fair and transparent.
Vincent Biruta, I want to thank you very much for appearing here on the France 24 interview. Stay tuned here on France 24 for more news.
By giving sovereignty to Panama in 1999 over the canal that they themselves built, the Americans also gave it back the zone, that strip of land either side of the canal that for almost half a century had lived on American time.
This was a small, artificial country led by engineers, designed by engineers.
Despite the departure of the Americans, certain traditions have remained. And memories too, sometimes bitter memories.
Ya uno se va acostumbrando a oír los tiroteos, la bulla, las bombas que a veces comentan.
Watch The Children of the Canal, Panama Revisited on France 24 and France24.com.
Because a new page of history gets written every day. Because breaking news can't wait. Information everywhere. In all situations. On every subject. Understanding the world. Imagining the world. France 24. A different take on the news.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.